this one is it's kind of like taking the basic Taffy and then just moving through with it back and forth. So I'll just demonstrate a couple of these to you, which is we're basically going to do 9 times back and forth like this. So essentially you don't lift out, like there's no closing, there's no stopping with it, which is where the perpetual motion piece of it comes to. But watch what's happening with my feet. As I step out and come across, now I'm there, like however I am situated, the rest of the perpetual motion Taffy is going to happen with that. But now as I come across and start to sweep back with my hand to get ready for the next one, my foot comes just slightly, and I'll lift it higher, just comes slightly off the ground. Now, it only needs to just clear the ground. It's like one of those things where you're just lifting off. So whatever feels comfortable for you. And what I'm going to encourage you to try for with this, you may not get there initially, is to see if you can get the feel of a motion starting. I'll turn sideways. Motion starting with the toe coming up. So it's very similar like when you come back with your forward stepping motions. When you come back and step back into yourself, you lead with the toe coming up. And what it does is it really helps the whole kinetic chain of lengthening through the back of your body, so that as you do this, rather than coming up with your heel first, which tends to create a contraction that gets in the way of you lifting back up and in, what this does is to really encourage that lengthening through the whole back of your body. So it's very much the same with the sidestepping motion, that as you come across to closing, or in this case just lifting with your foot, you initiate it by the toe coming up first. And you'll find in the long run, it'll make it a little bit easier for you to just stay dropped into this, because the other piece that you're looking at for this is there is a tendency to do 2 things when you come into this place. One is to bob up, right? To kind of try to get yourself up and out of it, kind of like when you come to a closing of a rocking motion. So you stay down and just let that foot come up. And so keeping that toe up first really helps you stay in that place. And the other tendency that we have as we come across is to try to get that foot up by leaning into it. So you start to get like this kind of rocking kind of thing. And what you'd really like to get as much as possible is that you're over top of that foot and your other foot just comes up. So there's no movement this way and there's no movement sideways as my foot comes up. Now, that's where you want to get to, and you may find that there's a lot of jiggliness and other stuff that happens. So once again, I'm going to tell you, just go minimal with it. Just come to the edge of where you start to feel like you're being tested and massage with the movement into it. So as we come across again, let's just give this a try, starting with our starting position, winding up, across, and then here's, as this hand comes up, just a slight lift with your foot and across, just like that. And then just feeling how your shoulders and arms can just let down to this. Now you'll notice that you don't get a full anchor with that back hand, with the heel coming down. But because you've put so much focus into anchoring with that back hand, before, like with the anchor Taffy, for example, where you've really held down there, to just even get like the insinuation, you know what you're looking for, that sense of connection down the outside of your leg. So you basically are pretty much turning around and starting to sweep back up by the time you've connected down the outside of your leg. So it's a very, very brief connection for this one. And you just drop into this, and you're just going back and forth 9 times. One of my best stories about this particular movement is a story that apparently Justin Stone originally told about how when he was first starting out teaching this, and all he had was a little Volkswagen Beetle, and he was in winter in the northern high deserts of New Mexico, that he needed to come back from Santa Fe or Taos back to Albuquerque where he lived in this freezing little Volkswagen. And so he did 100 of these and claims he felt quite toasty by the time he'd finished with it. So once again, you pick how many times, but sort of the default is 9 back and forth. So let's just come back one more time, and then here's the closing. We're going to come back, and this time the foot's going to come right up and in as you come to anchor. Because we have such a tendency to have fallen arches and falling in, you often find that as you come to step up, that your foot kind of falls in with it. The arch isn't stable, and so it's a really good chance to give yourself to really focus on the outside of your foot as that left foot comes in, so that you really start to get how there can be an integrity in your arch and in your foot by really committing a little bit more to the outside of the foot. And that can help some people a lot with that.